And what morph is this?
She's a platinum motley golden child.
I have never seen that. That is gorgeous.
She's pretty, huh? Slither ink bredder.
Hi, Russ of Aquarium X here. Today I'd like to share a few brief highlights from the Expo, unveil what I obtained at the Expo, and finally feed my new acquisitions from the Expo. Well, as far as highlights go, you just saw one. That super dwarf reticulated python, the platinum motley golden child, just blew my mind. When I saw it, I was speechless for a minute. And finally I managed to actually ask the owner of the snake a little bit about it, as you saw in the video. But that was just, it was unique. I've never seen anything quite like that, and I have to admit, I'm intrigued. It was truly a highlight for me as well to get to interact with so many of you. A lot of viewers came up to talk to me. They wanted to take pictures or just tell me how my videos had impacted them or things like that. That was really exciting for me. I'm glad to know that my videos are having a positive influence on you and that you enjoy them enough that you wanted to come and talk to me personally. And I also learned a lot from interacting with the people I was working with at the Expo. That was a lot of fun too. Another highlight was made possible by this man.
Hi, this is Don from Don's Garter Snakes.
Don, and I'll put a link to his Facebook page here as well, is a garter snake keeper and breeder. He works with unusual garter snakes of various types as well as some of the more normal forms, and he's got a really cool collection. Got melanistics, he's got albinos, it's pretty cool. Several species of garters, and he was willing to take the time to talk to me about them, to show many of them to me. It was really a good time, so thanks Don for taking the time to chat with me about your garters. Don and I had actually been in communication for some time prior to the show so that I could bring home a group of red-sided garter snakes. Garter snakes I'm really excited about because one, they're communal. Two, they give live birth, so I can keep a little colony of them together and they'll produce babies that way. And they're really good for handling. They're one of the better snakes for pets. And red-sided garters, when they grow up, their colors are absolutely vivid and beautiful. So let's take these out and put them in their new enclosure. This is one of the males. So it's a reverse trio. There are two males. There's one of them. Tiny little thing. Beautiful, even though it doesn't have all its colors yet. And you'll notice I don't have the water dish full yet, and that's because I'm going to move this enclosure right after I film. So I'm going to fill it up after I move it so that it doesn't spill all over the place. You don't want to keep garter snakes on wet paper towels. They can get skin lesions and blisters and stuff that way. Here's another one. Now, because I am partially colorblind, I have a hard time seeing red pigments unless it's in large amounts, so I don't know if you can see red on this snake or not yet. But when they get older, their heads become red and they get red checkers all along the sides, and it's amazing. Woo! Woo, that little one almost took a dive there. Looks like it's still a little shy, but that's to be expected at this point. And it will calm down with time. That's another male there. And then this is the female. Looks like she's eliminated in the container there. I'll try to get her out of there without having her get it all over herself, hopefully. And there is the little female. Does she have any red on her head yet? Can you tell?
She has red on her side.
Not so much yet. You can see a little bit on the sides already.
See the red on the side, yeah.
Yeah.
You can see the red on the side on all of them, actually.
Okay, good. And that'll just get richer and brighter as they age. But they are gorgeous little snakes. Right now they're small enough they're eating earthworm pieces and pinky pieces. So I'll have to be feeding them pretty soon. But yeah, I'm so excited for these. Of course, this tub is temporary. They'll be going in a much larger vivarium in the future, but I need to keep them in something small for now, and paper towels is a great substrate when you first get them, just to make sure that they're doing their business and it's easy to clean up after them, and so on. This is the first day that I'm feeding my new red-sided garter snakes. Let's see if it takes one. Oh, nice shot. Just feeding them little bite-sized worms and or worm pieces. That's a bigger piece, of course, of a larger worm. I just took one shovel full of dirt and took a few worms out. And that one was already pre-pieced by the shovel, unfortunately for the worm, but fortunately for the snake. Should be about the right size for the little one. I talked to the seller of these snakes and said they're on worm pieces and pinky pieces. So that's what I'm going to be using first. And I will be adding Reptilinks to their diet eventually. But sometimes it takes a little while to transition them from the food they're on to another food. And I know that worms are part of their natural food, and pinky pieces are not something they'll be eating at this age, but adult garter snakes do eat rodents, so that's a part of their natural food too. Let's just move this out of the way. That snake has had enough food, so I'm going to put it in a deli cup so I don't get them confused, although I don't think I would with that full belly. And I've just removed the paper towel for ease of visibility for the snakes. Let's see if this one is going to eat. I was told that 2 of them were eating really, really well, and one of them was eating but not quite as avidly. But it looks like this one's interested already in the worm here. Yep. Alright.
Spaghetti.
Now, interesting thing about garter snakes and feeding, you have to be really careful when you're feeding them so that they don't attack each other. You need to give them fairly small bits of food, and I'm watching the other snake in the enclosure carefully so that it doesn't try to attack this snake while it's eating, because it's not so much they're attacking the snake, but they're both going for the food, and once they start swallowing, they're going to keep going, and you can have one snake swallow the other, so you have to be very careful about that. But since garter snakes are one of the snakes that they can live communally, but they don't necessarily need to be fed communally. If you feed them communally, you have to take some careful steps, which often means that unlike many snakes, it is important to remove them from their enclosure. It can be, depending on your situation, to remove them from the enclosure when you're feeding them. But since this is their first feeding and they're just getting used to the enclosure, I'm trying to feed them in them, but I'm just watching them carefully so one doesn't attack the other. And I have to interject here, the feeding after this feeding that I filmed, I had a close shave. One garter saw another garter eating from quite a distance away, and I thought I would have been able to manage it, but it was really close. I mean, everything's okay now, but it could have gone south really quickly. So from now on, I don't think I'm going to be feeding the garters in the same enclosure. It's just too risky. Definitely showing some interest, which is good. Seems to like the movement. I'm going to wiggle it. Oh, and there he goes.
Get it?
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Nom, nom, nom.
Good. Well, now that I've seen all 3 snakes eat, and I've only had them since yesterday, approximately 24 hours, that's great. This little guy was shedding yesterday, and today he's going to get a feeding because he wasn't very hungry yesterday. He just had 1 piece of worm dusted with Repashy Calcium Plus, and he's about to get another one. There he goes. Hungry little guy. Look at the gorgeous coloring on this guy now that he's shed. The color will get more brilliant as he grows, but he already looks pretty striking. Very nice coloration. Before I go any further, I'd like to take a minute to thank my Patreon backers. They make a lot of things that I do on my channel much more possible. So thank you. I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching today. I post videos every Wednesday and Friday, all on aquarium and vivarium pets. Please feel free to rate, share, comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe. And then click the bell icon so you don't miss my next video.
We'd have to take 30, 40 pictures of each snake just to get 2 good ones.
2 that works, yeah.
Ball pythons, you throw them down one shot, hey, you're good.
Yeah, they're lap snakes.
Oh, yeah.
Such a
Some
gorgeous
of them.
snake. And look at that face. That's just
That black is just
beautiful.
awesome.